Alright, welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today in the review room we're going to take a look at The Walking Dead Comic Series 5, LYDIA. Now, I had this recorded, and you guys have been asking where's the LYDIA review. I'm just backed up on videos. I'm trying to get all these videos done before the United Nations finally takes over the internet. Hopefully we can get these toy reviews up before then. So, jumping into this, we have the usual standard box. It's pretty cool. The back of the box, we're not there yet. Hold on. Alright, there we go. The back of the box has an image of all the figures in this wave. And again, you take your trusty knife and you cut it open. Now, I was able to successfully do this 3 times before, but it gets tricky once in a while. So you're going to want to make sure you cut it just right. Slice the sides and I forgot. I nicked my finger just a tad. You just wipe off a little bit of blood. It's no big deal and keep it moving. But you cut the sides, slice the bottom, and that way you can actually yank out the plastic. Hold on, I got to wrap it here. It just bled a little more than I thought. You yank out the plastic coffin. It's only a little bit of blood, see? I got these Superman Band-Aids, so we're just going to put one on and call it a day. Alright, so note to self, no more buying Band-Aids at the dollar store. They don't work. Paper towels, they'll do just fine. You soak up the blood, see? Pat it in, it's going to be fine. Soak it all up, wrap it tight, and keep it moving. Now, taking a look at LYDIA, she has really good detail in the face. This is a very flawed figure. It's probably the worst in the set, which is a shame because she's gorgeous. She resembles Alpha a lot. I mean, this looks like it could definitely be her daughter. I think it looks fantastic. The hair's a little big when you transfer over to the Whisperer head on her body when you switch the heads. It looks ridiculous because the head loses all that poofiness from the hair. But that's besides the point. I'm sure not a lot of people even notice. But anyway, looking at her outfit, McFarlane Toys does a great job with the folds, the wrinkles, the weathered paint jobs, the look. I mean, it's fantastic. Now, her leg popped off after the interview, but what are you going to do? That happens all the time with this type of articulation. The material they use, although it looks great, and I applaud them for that, it's very cheap. And if you move any of the legs a little too much, and I mean a little, they'll just break right off. Now, luckily, though, it's these pegs that pop right back on. See what I mean? They got some dirt and grime on this uniform, and this is her Whisperer uniform, so I like all the dirt and the holes in her outfit. There's cuts in her shirt. It's like battle damaged already. Now, her head is shit. It doesn't move. It goes side to side. There's no ball bearing in it. Ball bearing? What the fuck is that? There's no ball joint in it. It's just this square looking peg, which is a shame because her ankles have a ball thingy-majiggy. But the top of her head, the Whisperer head, this is even worse. You can't even move her Whisperer head side to side. Once you pop it on, it's on, because if you move it just a little too much, it'll pop off. And again, that's a shame because it looks fantastic. I love the way this figure looks with the LYDIA head and the Whisperer head. The detail is great, except for the back of the head. The back of the head is shit. You turn the head just a little bit, it pops right off. It's garbage. Now, you could turn the head, her actual head, her arms raise really good, but there's no twist in her waist. I mean, none at all, which is disappointing. Even a little bit would have helped, but there's none. Now, it gets bad when you get to the articulation in her legs, but her elbows have decent articulation. Her wrists also have decent articulation. She bends good at the elbow. She has a swivel, obviously, at the elbow. Her arm goes up a decent amount. There's a little friction. It feels a little weak, like the arm's going to pop off. But at the wrist, it has really nice articulation to get her into some decent poses, holding some weapons. So that's fine. And she's got some cool looking gloves on. Now, going down with the feet, she does the Jean-Claude Van Damme jump kick, helicopter spinny thing. Her leg goes out just a little bit. It doesn't go back hardly at all. And the articulation in her knee is shit. It barely goes. It actually goes the wrong way more than it does the right way, which is horrible. It swivels at the knee, obviously. And it has some decent articulation at the ankle where there's a ball joint. I can't even remember what the hell that's called. We're maxing out on that knee joint. Look how it goes the wrong way more than it does the right way. It's dumb. Anyway, here's an up-close look at her head. And I'm going to show you in a minute what I mean by the back of her head. I think I just stopped talking about it before, but look at the back of her head. Look how plain that looks. That's supposed to be stitching. Now, I know that Alpha, her mother, cost an extra $10 because she was a Skybound exclusive, but if you compare them, the back of the head is amazing on Alpha because you can see the stitching, and it looks great, and that's directly from the comic book. That's an important part at the very beginning of the reveal for the Whisperers, and you can't even see it on Lydia. Oh, and she face planted. So here's the knife. It's just a kitchen knife. It's a prison shank at best, but it does the job. She holds it pretty good, and she's got good articulation in her wrists. So again, you can get some decent stabbing, shanking poses out of her, I bet. Use your imagination. Now, putting them side by side, they look really good. And Ezekiel's head is by far the best part about this figure. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean the hair, the way it's flowing in the wind. It's an iconic look directly from the comic book, but it just looks fantastic. Now, the face looks like an Ezekiel that's older than the one we got in the release. And I don't mean older by a couple years, you know what I mean? I mean older by a decade. For some reason, it looks older in my opinion. But it's got soft hair, it's pliable. That doesn't really do much because it's not like it actually moves, but it just feels like it's better quality. On the bottom of it, you see the blood and the gore. You got blood on the spike, and then the clean end, that pops into the base. And again, be careful with these damn sticks. Pop that into this base here, which is just dirt and grass, a hollow bottom, and then you're going to pop Ezekiel's head on top of there, and look at what I mean by it's a wiggly base, and there you go. Now, Lydia and Alpha side by side look great. I love it. I think it's awesome. They both have their individual problems. I think Alpha has less problems than Lydia, but the overall package for Lydia, it's still worth it, even though she's really restricted with her articulation in some spots. So is Prisoner Negan, but he looks amazing. So just on the shelf alone, she looks amazing, both her Whisperer head and her natural head. I really like her natural head. I think for some reason, that is more iconic in my opinion because that baby face was such a huge reveal in the way they did it. I think it's amazing. Anyway, so for a display, I would have to give this a high recommend, even with its flaws. But be very careful with it. It is fragile, and for some reason, they use a very hard material when they're making these, as opposed to the NECA figures that has a plastic material, which if NECA and McFarlane Toys can combine forces, they would actually release the ultimate figures that have the perfect articulation with the perfect weathering, because that's one thing NECA just can't do as well as McFarlane Toys, in my opinion, that dirt and grime weathering. The faces on all the NECA look like cartoons, you know, even if they're well done, and they are well done. There's just a certain grimy, gritty, realistic aspect that McFarlane Toys gets right. They just need a little help in quality control and successful articulation. Alright guys, that's the review, and I'm looking at a blank screen, so apparently I'm out of video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for coming by the review room. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Subscribe now.